The Constitution of India, Preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution.
Welcome back, children, to one more session of chemistry class. So, lovely weather, isn't it? Are you all enjoying at home? Today, September 14, it's celebrated as Hindi Divas. Hindi being our national language, it also gives us a global identity, isn't it? So, go deep into the language, practice well, converse well, okay, using technology. Now you have enough time to practice. You can make use of mobiles and practice the language, but be careful. You must be using technology. Technology should not be using you. Okay. Now, if it's a lengthy video, the virtual classes which we are providing, if the video is lengthy, you can take a break after 20 minutes, pause it, go and look into the greeneries, have a sip of water and then come back and watch the remaining video so that your eyes don't get dehydrated. Okay. So, let's get going. Only a small portion of the second chapter is pending now. That is a table which shows the comparison of ionic and covalent compounds. After that, we will discuss the textual exercises. Okay. Your textbook shows a table where there are 3 columns. The first column is properties, second column is ionic compound, covalent compound is the next tabular column. So, the first property is state. What is the state of ionic compound? Solid. Whereas covalent exists in solid, liquid and gaseous states. Solubility in water. Ionic compounds are generally soluble in water, whereas covalent compounds are insoluble in water, but they are soluble in organic solvents like kerosene, carbon tetrachloride and benzene. How about electrical conductivity? Ionic compounds conduct electricity, whereas covalent compounds are generally not a conductor of electricity. Melting point and boiling point. Ionic compound has a high melting point and covalent compound has a very low boiling point. So, I hope you have understood this tabular column. It's very important. It might come as a 1-mark question. Okay. Now, we will move to the textual exercises one by one. These exercises should be copied into your files too. Okay. Shall we move to the first question? It's a table where the first column is element, second is atomic number and electronic configuration. I hope this is very easy for you. P, Q, R, S are the elements. They are having fake symbols. It is not real symbols. Atomic number 9 and the configuration is given for you 27. Whereas for Q 17, what will be the configuration? 287. R, atomic number is 10. So, the configuration is 28. Yes, atomic number is 12 and what is the configuration? 282. So, which element in the table is most stable one? Which is the most stable? As you know, R is most stable because it has got the configuration 28. Which element donates electrons in chemical reactions? Yes, who is going to donate here? Yes, because it is giving away 2 electrons. Write the chemical formula of the compound formed by combining element S and P. So, the first question, the C part, this is the C part. Okay. Now, we are going to write the chemical formula of this compound. So S has a configuration 282, P has a configuration 27. So what is the valency of S? As you know, the number of electrons in the last shell will be the valency of that element, and it applies for till 4 electrons. If it is 5, you have to subtract it from 8. Okay? So the outermost shell has 2 electrons. So the valency is also 2. Okay? For valency there is an easy method. If the outermost shell of an element has 1 electron, then the valency is also 1. Outermost shell. So this is valency. If the outermost shell has 2, the valency is also 2. If it is 3, the valency is also 3. If the outermost shell has 4 electrons, valency is 4. But if it is 5, what should you do? You have to subtract 5 from 8. Why 8? Because 8 is a magic number for all elements. Elements strive hard to get that 8 electrons in their outermost shell. So 8 minus 5, that is equal to 3. 3 will be its valency. Okay? So if the number of electrons in the last shell is 6, it will be 8 minus 6, that is equal to 2. And what happens if it is 7 electrons in the last shell? 8 minus 7, that is equal to 1. So remember this, children. This is an easy method to determine the valency of elements till 18. We are studying only elements till 18 this year. Okay. So what is the valency of S here? 2. What is the valency of P here? P. Valency is 7. Outermost shell is 7. So 8 minus 7, 1 is the valency. Now we have to crisscross, isn't it? How to find the chemical formula using valency? You have written the valency beneath the symbols. Now you make a crisscross. So the formula will be S1 and P2. As you know, 1 need not be mentioned here. So sp2 is the chemical formula. Okay. If the elements are having these configurations, this will be the chemical formula. Okay. I hope you understood. Now we move to the next question. Electronegativity value of some elements are given. Analyze these values. Find out whether the following compounds are ionic or covalent. So children, this is a work for you, an easy work. Using the Linus Pauling electronegativity scale, which is there in the textbook, find out whether these compounds are ionic or covalent using the electronegativity scale. Okay. So do it by yourself in the files. Now we will move to the third question. Some elements and the valencies are given. Now we will write the chemical formula for these compounds one by one. Okay. Now children, the valency of these elements are given here. Barium, chlorine, zinc is 0, oxygen is 2. Valency is given here. With using this valency, we have to determine the chemical formula. What is the chemical formula for barium chloride? What should we do? First write the symbol. Barium chloride. Yes, we have written the symbol. Now we will write the valency. Barium has a valency 2, chlorine has a valency 1. So you have to just crisscross. So what is the formula? Ba1 and Cl2. So 1 need not be mentioned here. So BaCl2 is the chemical formula for barium chloride. So using this valency, we can determine provided you have valency of elements, you can easily determine the chemical formula of any element. We need not memorize these chemical formulas, but you should have the valency of these elements. Okay. So zinc oxide, first we will write the symbol zinc and oxygen. What is the valency of zinc? It is 2. And what is the valency of oxygen? Again it is 2. So what would be the chemical formula of zinc oxide? Crisscross and then write Zn2O2. So here both the numbers are same. So we can easily divide by 2. Again it becomes 1 and 1. So when you reduce it, the formula will be ZnO. What will be the formula? ZnO. Zinc oxide has a formula ZnO. Now we have the third part here, calcium oxide. The formula is given here. What should you do? You have to determine the valency of calcium. It is easy to determine the value of one element if you have the valency of the other element. So here we will write the symbols Ca and O. Calcium, we don't have the valency here. But oxygen, yes, we do have the valency. What is the valency of oxygen? 2. So again, what should you do now? The same way, Ca2 and O. Since you don't have the valency of oxygen, we will write it here as X. Ca2 and X. But we already have the formula of calcium oxide, that is CaO. When does it become like this? If X is equal to 2, 2 and 2 gets cut and you will get CaO. So X is equal to 2. What is X? Valency of calcium. That will be 2. Okay. So the valency of calcium is 2. Again, using this formula. Okay. Using this formula, we can easily determine the valency of any element, provided you have the valency of the other element in the compound. Okay. So my dear children, the exercises get over here. I hope you have understood the chapter here. What did we discuss in this chapter? Let me give you a quick recap of what all we studied in this chapter, that is chemical bonding. Once again, chemical bonding means the bonding between atoms. Why do atoms combine? Just for the sake of stability, getting stable. When does an atom become stable? When they get 8 electrons in their outermost shell, isn't it? So except for the noble gases, all other elements do not have 8 electrons in the outermost shell, whereas noble gases, that is helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon, they all have 8 electrons in the outermost shell except for helium. Helium has a duplet configuration. So all other elements, they tend to combine with other elements through 2 ways. We are studying only 2 types of bonding in this chapter. The first bonding is ionic and the second one is covalent. Ionic bonding, yes, it happens when one atom is ready to donate and the other one is ready to accept those electrons, isn't it? So we saw many examples for that: NaCl, MgO, NaF, sodium fluoride, likewise Na2O, all these examples. So we also studied how to write ionic equations for an ionic compound. So that is also important study. Next, we studied what are covalent compounds, or how are covalent compounds formed. How are they formed? Yes, when the atoms are ready to share electrons between themselves, they form covalent compounds. Like we saw the examples of diatomic molecules where similar atoms combine. 2 similar atoms combine to form molecules. There covalent bonding exists. We also saw covalent bonding in different types of atoms like H and Cl, HCl, HF, H2O, HBr, isn't it? So these were examples, more examples for covalent bonding. After that, we saw what is electronegativity. Yes, electronegativity is the tendency to attract the shared pair of electron towards itself, and it can be seen only in covalent compounds, isn't it? So because of this electronegativity, we saw what is polar nature in covalent compounds. Yes, the partial electrical charges between the atoms in a covalent compound is called as polar nature. HCl, H2O, HBr, these are all covalent compounds with a polar nature. Okay. After that, Hemlada teacher dealt with valency. So valency, it can be easily determined through this easy way. Remember, if you want, you can note this down also. So if the number of electrons is 4, up from 1 to 4 you can write it the same, that the valency is also going to be the same. But if the electrons are 5, 6 and 7, that is electrons in the outermost shell are 5, 6 and 7. You just have to subtract it from 8. Then you will get the valency. Okay. So using valency, you studied how to determine the chemical formula for compounds, isn't it? After that, we saw the small portion of comparative study between ionic and covalent compounds, and we have found out the answers for textual exercise also. So write down all the textual exercises in your file and send it to me as early as possible. So have a good day, children. Bye.